Hey everyone, this is Steve Weintraub with Collider, and I'm here at our Sundance studio, which is being sponsored by Rendezvous Capital. I want to give them a huge thank you for being our sponsor, which allows us to champion indie cinema and be here at Sundance. I also want to say that we're raising awareness to LA Wildfire Relief Live, which is an organization that's raising money for all the people affected by the wildfires in California. It's real bad. Whatever you see on the news, it's worse. If you have the ability to donate, please visit lawildfirerelief.live. Thanks. And now I'm so happy you guys are here because as I told you off camera, I saw a lot of movies before I got to Sundance, and you were my favorite, and that is Lurker. So I know you're I'm sure feeling some nerves being at Sundance, feature debut. You do not have to worry. The premiere is going to go amazing.
Thank you so much.
Everyone watching this though will have not seen it. So how have you been describing the film to friends and family?
I've been trying to be very vague about it, as to not give too much away. I've been saying that it's two guys hanging out, or when two guys hanging out goes wrong. That seems to like be compelling enough for people to buy tickets. What else have I said?
You said Mean Boys.
Mean Boys. Oh yeah.
You said Mean Boys.
I wanted to make Mean Boys. It's also hard to. Do you feel like you understand what the genre is of this movie?
No, I don't think I know like a specific genre, but can I do you a favor?
Absolutely.
I would say for people that are watching, I really want to help you on this. It's about like up and coming musician
yes, of
who
course.
meets someone who works, because it happens right at the beginning of the movie,
yes.
who meets someone who works at a retail store and invites that person into his circle. And what happens?
That's when two guys hanging out goes wrong.
100%.
Well, no, they become best friends.
Oh,
So they become intimate and close collaborators. And
Debatable.
Matthew, played by Theodore, I think really locks in, and
yes.
he also starts to see other people as threats to his positioning in the crew, and we kind of watch him on that journey.
Yeah, no, 100%. I won't say any more about the specifics of the film.
You can.
No, I don't want to spoil anything. I'm just going to, for all the actors, I'm sure all of you have read multiple scripts. What was it about this one that said, oh, pardon my language, oh, fuck, I need to be in this?
Oh, great question.
I mean, for me, it just felt, you read so many scripts that try to encapsulate a version of this world, but feels like it's on the outside, or feels corny, or just doesn't feel authentic. And for some reason, I knew, without knowing too much about Alex's background, more and more I learned the more we worked together. He was an amazing music journalist. All of his friends are in music. This is like his world, and the world that he has lived inside his entire life. It read like something, it read like he knew this world so intimately. It felt so grounded and real, and I just hadn't read something like that before. And I pursued this for a long time. We'll probably get onto that for later on, but yeah, it was such a special script.
I feel like for me it was me and Alex have known each other for about a decade now, and we've kind of seen a lot of the same experiences, people in music through Atlanta and LA. And when we got to LA, we were having, a lot of these like similar conversations and stuff, just from different POVs. And I think a sentiment that I started to feel early on in LA got reflected so crazy when I read just the first draft of the script during COVID. And it's that our parents really lied to us when they said that the real world is not like high school. That's some bullshit. It's just different degrees and different scales of it. And it's all high school with different levels of access. There's high school with private jets, or there's high school, people act like high school if they work at Best Buy. You know what I'm saying? Like, people form hierarchies. Sometimes they're just perfectly fine and justified, and sometimes they're toxic. And this film really reflects that.
That's why we don't hang out. You've never invited. It's very high school.
I think it's rare for me to read a script and feel like because it's such sometimes a script is hard to read because it's obviously meant to be something else afterwards, and it's rare to read a script and be like, oh, this is a great piece in itself, of like a great piece of literature. Like I'm really enjoying reading this. I'm seeing things and I'm feeling things, and I feel like everything is clear and tangible. And that was the case for Lurker. It's just great writing. It's funny. It's you feel the humiliations that Matthew goes through and the aspiration of success and connection that he wants. So it was just very clear and exciting. It only happened like 3 or 4 times in my life to read a script and be like, oh, amazing. I feel like I understand everything. Even though you don't, like you will understand more as you work on it, but it's just very exciting to encounter a great writing. It's always very exciting.
You wanna go?
You go, babe.
Well, first
can
off,
help you
I
with
actually
this.
no, I got introduced to like the whole project through Archie because we worked on a music video shoot, and so I was just really excited about the idea, even just like based off of what you explained. And then I met Alex. We all had like
We went to IHOP.
yeah, we yeah.
Or no. We went to Sugarfish,
And then I was
couldn't
like-
get you
Yeah, there was like 2
seated or something.
Yeah,
so we're
something
like,
like
let's
that.
just go to IHOP.
Yeah. And then Alex showed me like a rough draft of what it was.
Yeah. I remember it very vividly. Actually, you were like, "Oh yeah, this sounds cool. Like I'm down, whatever." And then, and then Archie was like, "We should show him the proof of concept, which is something we shot a few years back, maybe within a year of writing the script. Just at like, $0 budget, amateur 2-minute thing." And I could tell after that you were actually like, "Oh,
Yeah, my like eyes lit up. I remember after watching the proof of concept,
you were
fell in
like,
love
oh,
with
I'm
it.
actually gonna read. I might read this." I think you said, "I'm gonna read."
That's literally
Which
what
was-
he said.
Wait, I'm gonna read a script.
Actually,
Yeah.
gonna read the script. now.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
was
I
which
never
was a
read the
rare
script.
thing for me at the time too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I fell in love with the script immediately. And usually, like, I procrastinate super heavily, maybe because it's my ADHD or whatever. But it was such a smooth read, and like, it had such a good like comedic sense, and like, it was fucking amazing. Or sorry, freaking.
I remember I was in a moment of my life when I was really trying to understand. I had just had a movie come out, and it was like the first one that had been actually very successful in my life, and my relationships to everyone in my life had changed.
I'm so
I just felt like everything, it all went through this other lens of curiosity of the reason why people were trying to be close, or the reason why, or trying not to seem as though I was trying to be close to anyone for any particular reason. I was more aware of the transactions of relationships when you're in this sort of like world of more visibility, let's say. And I think in that state, I was trying to metabolize also the morality around that. If it's okay to have relationships be transactional, if it's okay to have somebody approach you for your work and appreciation for that and then build a friendship off of that, or if that's actually slippery and sort of uncomfortable. And so this script came in, and I remember reading it and feeling like it allowed me to metabolize that experience in a way that was with humor and joy and a little bit of fear and a little bit of intrigue, and posed a lot of the same questions that I sort of hoped to figure out in my own life. And I am happy that in some ways watching the film feels like that too. Like, I don't know if I have the answers, but I feel like I have a more perspective on what those dynamics mean.
I have an individual question for you. The last few years, you've obviously grown in terms of your acting ability, but also higher profile projects. And I'm curious, how has your especially after Saltburn and, which was very widely seen, how did all the things you've worked on, and as your essentially star has grown, how did that help you play this character? What did you want to infuse from as you were just saying, from your real life into this?
It's interesting. I relate to a lot of what Havana just spoke about. I first came in contact with this script before all of those things had happened, probably the beginning of COVID. And then the idea of me playing Oliver kind of came to fruition way later, post all of those things happening. And I was in a very different place in my life, and I had kind of dealt with something a little bit similar to what happens in the story. And that felt very, felt very real and present at the time. And it's interesting. I mean, two separate answers. I think that all of those experiences of your star rising, I think people expect actors to be a version of Oliver, but that is a character that I never really related to. That is the kind of extrovert, overly confident, walking into a space and taking up space. That's not someone that I ever want to be, or like, no, doesn't come easy to me. And so it felt like a real challenge to play that part, but also was so many people that I've met. It was, and so many people that I'm around constantly. I know those people on a day-to-day basis. I've seen so many of them this weekend at the festival. Like that is, it's a character and an archetype that we know. And the more I work, the more these spaces that I'm in, where I'm meeting people that I admire, the more I see versions of Oliver in those people. And so I was able to kind of take, I think in our first meeting, we discussed a bunch of those things. I was like, this line that Oliver says, I heard this person say, and this part, and this line, and this line. And, that's just something that I didn't have as much contact with pre all of those things. So the way that the journey of me initially reading the script, and then when I eventually came to play it, I was so much more ready to play Oliver than I was when I first read this.
So one of the things that's very important about the movie is the music and the shooting of music videos, and there's like a documentary being shot. Can you sort of talk about coming up with the music, and you know what I mean? Like, what was the genre going to be? What were the songs? What were going to be the videos? How were you going to shoot them?
Yeah, so the ideas for the videos were kind of already in place in the script when there was still some range of the kind of artist he was. But I think once I cast Archie and once we started talking, I think we put together a playlist of songs that we thought would relate to this character and made sort of an amalgam of the kind of artist that he is. And then we landed on him being British as well, which it wasn't written that way, but it became sort of flexible. And then I also I have to admit that I didn't think the music would be as important as it ended up being. I was very
no singing. He said.
maybe okay. So basically during soft prep, I think so. We had cast Archie maybe I don't know, several months before we started shooting, maybe a year even. And from time to time he'd be like, "So what's the deal with the music? Like, when are we going to do the music?" And I'm like, it's not about the music. It's about everything outside of the music. It's about what happens right after the concert. It's about side stage.
Right. You had read the script.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I think we should do something. And even just as actors love to fill in the rest of the picture as much as they can. And I was very supportive of that, ultimately, kind of close down to the wire. It was a couple months before we started prep, it was during prep, that we were like, we have this friend, Kenny, who's a producer who literally has a YouTube show where he makes a song of any genre with a random artist. And by the end of a 30-minute session, he has a whole song with them. So he was like an easy pick for us to just be like, let's get Archie in the room with him for a couple days while we're doing prep and see what they come up with.
I mean, it's Kenny Beats. He's one of the best producers in the world. So you're really downplaying that.
This guy Kenny.
Guy Kenny.
You know people in the music industry? What?
Yeah. So he's our friend. So, and I think I was kind of distracted. I was thinking about other stuff, but I was like, I know Kenny can handle it. He's going to make this great. And I had already had him in mind to do the score. So I just sent Archie in there. We had some other songwriters too that Kenny sort of oversaw. And then in a couple days, I heard all the songs that are in the movie, almost in their finished form.
Yeah, it was really amazing. It was very just like it was a bit of a weird second life dream of where you're like, oh, in another life I'd have loved to have been a musician, but guess that won't happen. And then I was like in the studio with Kenny, like we were writing songs. I was like, maybe there's horns in this. He was like, yeah, give me 20 minutes. There's like a whole kind of group of like trumpet players and saxophone players. Like it was so much fun and so creative. And I'd say I love this artist Dijon. He was like, great, yeah, I made 20 songs for him last year. Like there's about 15 that we've got like just in the back pocket we can use. I know an artist called Rex Orange County, and he'd sent me this song that ended up being a really key piece of love and obsession. He wrote this song for his album, and I told him the story of I spoke to him a lot, just kind of prepping for the film. And he said, that the story's really stayed with me. There's a song that's supposed to be on my album, but I feel like it should be in your movie. And he sent it to us, and I listened to the lyrics. I was like, my God, this is like, it just feels like the film. I sent it to Kenny, and he played around with it. And then, all of a sudden, like the song grew out of that. It was so collaborative and fun. But was not supposed to be in the film initially. So it was a really fun bonus.
I just have to say that because, and I don't want to do any spoilers, but the third act has there's a big song in the third act that really moves you know what I mean?
It's critical to the story.
It's critical. So it's like, when did you realize, oh wait, there really is you know what I mean? Like this song needs to kick ass. This needs to be like, what the audience is going to be like, oh, that's a really good song.
I mean, I was just hoping for the best, to be honest. Like this whole there's so much to keep your eye on that you have to trust the people that you're working with and like give them a chance to do their thing. In the case of Kenny, like he's so seasoned as just like a studio recording producer that like giving him this chance was like it was such a no-brainer. And then it was like the score we did together as well was like so smooth.
Dude, I completely agree. I don't want to spoil anything about this movie, but I definitely want to give you props because you're so fucking good in it.
Thank you.
But like, what was it like? You know what I mean? Like, talk a little bit about getting ready to play this role and your mental state. Because, and man, I can't talk about, you know what I mean? Like, but just like, I guess I want to know specifically for you, like what it was like getting ready for this part and you know what I mean? That headspace.
Can I say one thing right before you
please
answer?
Yeah.
He is so not like the character in real life at all. He's the complete opposite. He's not acting weird around anyone, or like trying to.
I disagree with that.
Acting weird, awkward maybe, but like he's not like trying to get anything out of you or like manipulate you or like play a game with you.
No, but the problem is he is, but he's very good at hiding it.
No, I think he was talking about.
I'm joking. I'm so joking.
No, either he's the best in the world. Have you seen Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always?
I try not to watch movies; they're not for me.
So yes,
right.
His character in that is similarly displaying
and TV shows
ambiguous intentions, and that's. I'll let you answer the fucking question. I'm sorry.
No, but thank you. That's very kind. I mean, I think it's weird because it was kind of in two separate steps for me that I kind of approached the film, because I auditioned a long time ago. I was 23, so it was like 4 years ago. And so that's the first time that I came in contact with the script. And we shot a little teaser for 2 years after or a year after. And then I got to spend some time in LA, and kind of Alex took me to a few parties and kind of had me be in contact with that world a little bit. And it was the first time that I kind of had set foot in that world. And then it was interesting for me to then have to get ready to actually shoot the movie so long after reading it for the first time, and the first time in my life that I had such a long break between getting in contact with the project and then actually making it. And it was strange because, of course, we change a lot, and I felt like I was someone different, but then I was kind of still attached to some of the first perceptions and perspectives of like when I was 23. And I had to really work to kind of let the shift happen of who I was today, how I would read the script today, and how I would approach it, and not be stuck in something that was, older. So it was interesting to have an opportunity to do that. It also really scared me because I was very worried of just kind of going through the motions of the first instincts that I had that probably weren't mine anymore.
Oh, fun Lurker fact. Number one is his, by pure coincidence, was the first tape I saw. out of hundreds. Just by pure coincidence, I saw his first, and I was like, "Oh, if this is like the floor." Like, you know, having like, it was my first time directing too, so it was the first time evaluating tapes. So I saw this, I was like, oh my god, like.
But maybe that's the only reason why I got it.
You know, just a weird
like,
bias.
oh.
Yeah,
And
so it
then-
has to be this. Yeah.
I was going to say he nailed the casting.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
everybody's
You were the
amazing
right
in
one
film.
for this role.
He really was.
And everyone else, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. No, again, I can't compliment it anymore. Like,
So did you like the movie? Can you say?
Yeah.
Maybe. So there's a great bit. Again, I'm not doing spoilers, but there's a great bit at LAX where
Yeah.
you're filming in the international terminal,
Yeah.
and then like, so I'm curious. Did you have permits or did you just shoot? And then exactly. Oh, I already know the answer now. And then
Can I answer this?
oh, 100%.
Producers?
The answer is they didn't have permits. They were just shooting on an iPhone.
Let me just, I'll say this. Matthew having a documentary within the film is like a cheat code for us as an indie filmmaker. Like, then you kind of can just pull up to LAX with a van and throw all your actors in there with the camcorder. Like, people go to LAX with cameras all the time that are bigger than the one we were using.
100%.
So I was thinking, we'll send them in there. They come back. That's a take. We review the footage. They go back in, do another take. But we just sent them in there. They didn't come back for like 45 minutes.
Having so much fun.
And then I'm like, did they
like,
get?
what do we have to
Did
do?
they get arrested? And then they came back with the footage, and it was like perfect. It was like. They were rolling around in a wheelchair. They were they really looked like they were going to London.
I only ask this because I recently spoke to everyone in Inheritance, and they shot using iPhones, and they went to the airport and shot stuff. They on the plane they shot, and then at the customs in Egypt they shot. Like they made a movie without. And they filmed in places you're not allowed to film. Yeah. And so I was curious if you guys at LAX had gotten on the plane to go to London. You see what I mean? And just shot like.
It would have been a good idea now. We're thinking about that.
Well, look, I think like we get the piece in LAX and then we get the piece on the plane, but like you really want to hear the dialogue on the plane, and it's a little more intentional. But I mean, yeah, the camcorder thing, it really came in handy for us. And I think those kinds of constraints make you more clever and creative. And like, that feels more real than if we went in there and like said action.
Dude,
and had a set
100%. And like, let me just say, like, as I was watching the footage, I was like, oh, this feels real. They totally didn't have permits and they were having the greatest time because like, it was too real. The way you were shooting it.
Well, you were correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. So one of the things that the film does so well, and I've seen it firsthand, is the way people act. Like all of a sudden they see actors, quote unquote celebrities, and it's like, or musicians, and it's almost like they've been injected with drugs and they're like, they just change. You know what I mean? And I think the film does such a great job at that. Can you sort of talk about like, what do you think it is? I'm asking the big question, but what do you think it is? Why so many people just get like so fucking crazy when they see actors or musicians and like they just become a different person. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like we used to have
religion.
like in the 90s, I grew up, my mom was like super Christian, right? Like we grew up like Southern, like Baptist, all of that. So my mom and her best friend and her kids, we would go down to like Orlando and go to these like mega church conventions that like TD Jakes and like Creflo Dollar would have. And like these places are like empty now. You know what I mean? They've kind of like switched to like, my mom watches church on like, she like streams it now. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't even have like a physical church home. And I think that like nowadays youth culture, Gen Z doesn't even ascribe to that anymore. Like you were saying yesterday, like celebrities are the new sort of deities, you know, like that's who they attach to now.
You should see how they go crazy for Zack. So, like walking up Main Street, he's getting full pitches all the way, like full like monologues. It's wild.
I'm thinking about it now though. Like it's a thing that we have since even when we're kids. It's almost like it's ingrained in us as humans. I'm thinking about like being at Disneyland and going crazy over like seeing like Mickey Mouse and Goofy and like it's like a weird like it's like
Mickey
a weird
Mouse in
thing
the
that's
movie.
like ingrained in our DNA as humans, like, and has been like from way back when. I don't know. It's like, I don't know what we're constantly trying to find something more exciting in our lives.
Yeah.
I kind of admire it. I never was a fan of something growing up, and I look at people who have that visceral full body reaction to having that much passion towards something, and I feel jealousy. Because I'm like, that is so pure and wonderful. That's that much joy. That's just like unbelievably special. I think it's really cool. I don't know what it is, but I don't have that gene, and I wish I did. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's like an emotional connection, like especially like when I would like listen to like certain music or something. Like I feel like I like could connect to that person so much just based off their lyrics. I don't know them, but I feel like I know them so well. So it's like I feel like with movies or whatever, sometimes I feel like most people or just myself like can get invested into a film and kind of put yourself in those shoes. And so I feel like that's like my idea of when like you kind of get starstruck or something. It's like seeing a friend you haven't seen in 5 years or something. It's like, oh, I fucking know you. Like we go way back, whatever. So that's kind of my idea on it.
I actually feel like that's like, you're right. It is about the intimacy too, right? Like there's a piece of it where you feel connected through these people that the parasocial relationship, like you feel like you have some sort of deep relationship to this person, even if you don't, which I think is, you're right. It is like the vulnerability and intimacy. And I think we're so devoid of connection in our current times, like with social media, et cetera, that it probably plays a bigger role now than it did before.
Even like when like Michael Jackson like passed away, like it was a whole thing. Like everyone kind
Were you around for that?
I was like 4 at the time.
That boy said, "Goo goo gaga."
No, but I mean,
I was crying in the crib.
that was my little stroller. I was like, no. No, I mean, I saw like a lot of people like affected. I mean, I wasn't fully around that time. But,
Sorry.
That's why I don't like to go to concerts, because I don't like that everyone else has the same intimate connection with the artist. Like I like headphones or in the car, maybe with one friend. At the concert, I'm like, you don't. Why do you know all the lyrics to this? This is between us.
Yeah.
That's very funny. I'm out of time, but I have to ask someone an individual question. I'm a big fan of John Carney, and you're in Power Ballad, and I really want to know, what can you say about the project? And you know what I mean? He makes really cool films.
Oh my God, that's so no one's asked me about it. I don't even know what I'm allowed to say.
What's that?
He's brilliant. He's brilliant. He's so fun. He's wild. It felt free the way that this project feels free. And I just believe in him so much as a creative, and it's fun to ride on someone's wave where they're writing actively through the process the way Alex sort of does as well. And I don't know, I'm very attracted to that kind of process because you feel so untethered and terrified the whole time. So there's some parallels here. But yeah, I'm excited. I have no idea how it's doing. I hope it's going great.
Well, I was going to say
Probably
that,
not going to be cut out.
I'm sure you're not, but it also has to do. I'm sure there's really good songs in that as well.
Yes.
Right. That's all she can say. So listen, I really mean this. I could ask you a million other questions, but I really can't wait to get into the specifics of the movie once it's out and people have seen it, because there's so many things I would like to talk about. But thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so
We're
much.
going to have an amazing premiere.
Thank you.
And have a great
Thank you.
Sundance.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
so much.
We have
Thank
been.
you.
Thank you again.